Hello everyone, I trust you're doing well. Everyone has a piece of media that dominated their childhood and affected how they grew up, and for me, that was Toy Story. Released in 1995, it was the first feature film to be completely 3D animated, using advanced computer software from Lucasfilm, and was the combined vision of John Lasseter, Andrew Stanton, Joe Ranft, and Pete Docter. As a kid, I loved it for its characters, the songs, the breakout scene, the car chase, and I loved it so much that my very first trip to London was to see the first performance of Toy Story on Ice. In fact, I actually found the original recording of it the other day, although if you plan to watch it, it's a bit surreal, the character costumes, the giant RC car, that frankly terrifying hand that scoops Buzz away. So maybe not for the faint of heart. I even had this book that went over all the actors, characters, and all the original dialogue. I say original dialogue because nowadays the show reuses dialogue and music from the film. But it's been 30 years and I haven't watched it a lot since, though that could be considered rehabilitation. When I watched it again recently with my family, I just couldn't help but mouth the words to it, and I was grinning ear to ear. But more importantly, it dawned on me why I still enjoy Toy Story even when all grown up. But before I do, I'm just going to go over the plot of Toy Story for those of you who still don't really know what it's about. The film stars a pull-string cowboy doll named Sheriff Woody, who's the favourite toy of Andy Davis. He's usually seen as the leader of the other toys. He holds staff meetings to update them, and he's usually the first one to know about new stuff. One day, when Andy's birthday is held early because his family is moving house that day, he gets a brand new toy, but not just any toy, the most sought after action figure on the market. A Space Ranger action hero named Buzz-Lightyear. At first, Woody just sees him as another toy, but he starts to become jealous when Andy plays with him more, and especially when all the cowboy stuff is replaced with space stuff. Not only that, but Buzz starts helping the other toys out, such as fitness, confidence, and just being a great guy overall. After an attempt to trap Buzz, so Andy takes him to Pizza Planet, goes wrong, the other toys figure Woody out, and they turn on him, and he's only able to get away because Andy takes him to Pizza Planet. But when Buzz confronts him in the car, the two fall out and are left behind during the fight. After a series of events that's going to take too long to explain, they end up in the hands of Andy's troublemaking neighbour, Sid Phillips, who's hinted at having a rough family. He's shown to bully his sister and is destructive overall, so there's probably some credence to that. Now, these two rivals must put aside their differences to fight a bigger threat. All the while, Woody learns he's not always going to be the favourite, and Buzz learns that even though he's not the real deal, he's still liked for who he is, not what he is. Those two themes in particular I want to talk about because now that I'm grown up, I can't help but feel like those are the real purpose of the film. Let's start with Woody. As you grow up, you're always going to want to impress everyone around you, whether that's by leading through example, being the coolest, setting the newest trend, things like that. But a part of growing up is accepting that you aren't the perfect person you think you are. You just have to accept that others are going to be best at you in certain ways. As we can see in the film, Woody's actually not a bad guy. The other toys do respect him. Well, except Mr. Potato Head, but he's just a smart mouth overall. He's generally good at getting them all back on track, such as when they tend to overreact to the new presents being brought in, and he does his best to welcome new toys into the fold, but as we see, he has a flaw that is universal to everyone who's ever lived: jealousy. Rather than just letting Buzz's popularity die off, he just lets it get to him and he gets into more trouble than he would have otherwise. This works because trying to get everyone to like you, and I know this is going to sound really shallow, depends on superficial factors, such as Who's the smartest, the strongest, the most attractive, who's richer, who has a better speaking voice, nothing big, but it's just all these small things that just keep building up. And watching the film again, and having plenty of examples through my own experience and through family and friends, the filmmakers actually knew a lot more about how to make these toys feel like real people than we would have given them credit for otherwise. Yeah, I know that sounds really silly, but again, think about it. How many times are you constantly trying to show that you're the best one in the room? Like, you want to be the one everyone likes. Now watch Woody's behaviour again. Does it seem familiar? But that's only one half of the equation. Another thing that people may have to deal with the older they get is that you don't really need to be the real deal, just a good person. And this is what Buzz represents. Buzz is initially heartbroken when he learns that Woody was right. He's not a space ranger, he's just a toy based on a space ranger. He becomes so upset that he doesn't care if he's used for a tea party, which actually makes Hannah a surprisingly sympathetic character, seeing her play happily with broken toys like this. Buzz doesn't care that his arm gets taken off when he tries to fly and fails, or even the fact that Sid plans to blow him up with a firework on his back. Before we continue, I'd just like to thank the YouTuber Shane Eastwood, I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that right, for uploading the rain scene with the deleted scene added back in. It actually adds more context to it, and it explains why Woody's hat is missing between shots. So I'll link this down in the description so you can watch it for yourself. It's actually really good. And it's actually very relevant as well, because so many young men and women get so beaten down, whether by others or just life in general, that some tend to partake in destructive behaviours, they become numb and accept defeat, or they become so desperate for a saviour that they just fall into incredible depression. Anyone who's been there knows what I'm talking about. But for Buzz, he actually had Woody with him, which is good because despite being the one who got him into this mess, and the one who opened his eyes to this harsh reality, he also reminded Buzz how cool he was, and admitted that he was, objectively, the better toy. The other toys in Andy's room didn't care that he was a space ranger, or that he was from a popular cartoon Andy liked, or anything like that. They liked him for who he is, not what he is. He was helpful, he got them into shape, he was brave enough to want to save Combat Carl despite no real chance of winning, and that gets him to recognise that it's being loved by others that made his life worth living. Now tell me, is that something that a lot of people can relate to? I like to think so. I mean, just talk to people, they always like making friends, even though it's difficult. They want to find their true love, the absolute minefield that can be. Or just have someone to go on a walk with them. Sometimes you don't even need to say something to someone, just being there with them is enough. Although I do like one thing I've noticed when I rewatched this again. The more Woody admits he was wrong, and how Buzz comes to the realisation that Andy still loves him despite just being a toy, the sun starts to rise, and you can see the lighting go from blue to pink. I actually really like this. It's to show they've overcome their biggest flaws and their friendship is now permanent. Honestly, the more I think about this scene, it's probably becoming more and more excellent. It's probably one of my favourite scenes in all cinema, to be honest. And yeah, I think this is why the film had the impact it did. Think about it, every film studio, every video game, every TV show, everything wants a Buzz and Woody duo. Really think about it, think of all the things you like. How many of your favourite things try to have like two characters go against each other only to become friends? Honestly, the only one I think gets close is Shrek and Donkey from DreamWorks, and that's even including Pixar themselves using Mike and Sully or Lightning McQueen and Mater. I could go on about how the film was originally about toys because the humans were too difficult to make, how Woody was originally going to be the bad guy, and Tinny from Tin Toy was going to be the hero, how the video game impacted licensed games, but you've probably watched videos and read articles on those things already. So instead, I want to talk about something that I don't think anyone else has brought up. I want to talk about Andy's dad. As we know, Andy's dad is not in any of the films. The reason for this is because the crew just didn't want another human to animate, because most of the humans, let's be honest, don't look great. Even back then this was considered rough, hence the toy characters. Some fans have tried to make in-universe reasons for this, like, oh, the parents got divorced, or the dad died at a young age because Woody's called an heirloom in Toy Story 2. Or he is there, he's just off-screen doing something else. But here's something I don't think anyone else has brought up. Andy's dad was right there in front of us the whole time. Woody is Andy's dad. I made a comment about this on one of Literature Devil's videos. When you really stop and think about it, throughout the trilogy, Woody is basically a father figure. He looks out for the other toys, and each film reflects a struggle of fatherhood. Toy Story 1. You won't always be your kid's favourite. Don't let your jealousy taint your relationships. In Buzz's case, this is probably just being the cool uncle or something. And in Toy Story 2, it's about dealing with morality. You know, you can't stop your kid from growing up, but you've got to be there to help them out and cherish every moment you have before they're gone forever. Toy Story 3, accepting that you're not needed anymore. Your kid has grown up, you can stay in touch with them and help those who still need you, but even though the hardest part is saying goodbye, you have to be ready to face it. The events that took place after Toy Story 3, Hawaiian Vacation, Small Fry, Partysaurus Rex, Toy Story of Terror, and Toy Story That Time Forgot, don't you just love these names? All build upon this, though Woody tends to take a back seat to give the others a chance to shine. He's a father figure who's just trying to help everybody out, and even in the Adventure Begins pilot for the Star Command cartoon, he's teasing Rex, pretending that the videotape just won't work, and in the Toy Story 3 video game cutscenes, particularly the last level, Woody hushes Buzz so Ham can tell a more exciting story. Teasing kids who are excited and not wanting the fun to be ruined are more subtle things that dads can do. Not out of malice, but because they either have a good sense of humour, or they just care about the good time being had. And then Toy Story 4 came along. Okay, I'll try and not waste your time because everyone's gone on about this, so here's the Cliff Notes version. After John Lasseter was fired when accused of harassment via hugging people who didn't want a hug, which honestly is kind of dubious, but that's not the point of this video, the team decided to retcon all the shorts and specials and the Star Command cartoon and decided that they would take the films in a different direction. More specifically with Woody. In Toy Story 4, despite Bonnie really loving Woody in Toy Story 3, she soon just forgets about him and even gives his badge to Jessie, which makes him feel insecure despite the fact that in the first film, he accepts that he's not always going to be the favourite, so the first film's message has already been undone. And as you go through the film, he fears the future regarding Bonnie needing Forky, since she was alone at school, and what his own future might be. But this conflicts with the second film because he learnt don't fear the future, just be there when people need you, even at their worst. But much like others, my huge issue with the film, apart from everything else of course, is the ending. Alright, so spoilers for a film that's like 5 years old or something. Woody chooses to leave his family behind to be with Bo Peep, who in my opinion was rewritten into a frankly unlikable love interest. This was written at the height of the girl boss craze, so a lot of strong independent women were being used as the template for a lot of women in films. But by doing this completely contradicts with the third film's ending, because in that film, he learnt to let go of his loved ones and was thankful for the family he still has. All three films completely undone, just for a change is good message that just felt forced and frankly pathetic. Especially considering that his love interest didn't really seem to respect him that much. If none of these points feel like they have any weight to them, then I recommend the videos Toy Story 4 Failed Its Characters by Jordan Newitt, Why Toy Story 4 is Pixar's Worst Sequel by Rocketar, and How Toy Story 4 Destroyed Everything by Gaming Magic 13, though that one is hours long, so if you aren't patient enough for it, maybe don't bother. While I was making this video, Pixar revealed the Toy Story 5 teaser, which confirmed the leaked concept art that Woody's back with his real family, and the fact that they've done this and they've already backtracked on Toy Story 4 really shows just how pointless it was. It wasn't needed. Toy Story 4 did not need to exist. So, I'll give the fifth film a chance, but given the leaked footage from D23, which I'm not playing here because I don't want to get copyright striked, and the fact that the trailer just gives me like Illumination film vibes, I'm keeping my expectations low. If you want to know, in my opinion, which Toy Story media I recommend for your children, and just for yourself if you're curious, here's what I recommend. The original trilogy of films, Toy Story 1, 2 and 3. The Buzz Lightyear Star Command cartoon. Do not watch Lightyear. That was such a disappointment, and the cartoon is not only better written, it has better characters, it's better paced, but it's just a better backstory for Buzz overall that, even though John Lasseter allegedly disliked it, it was made in cooperation with Pixar. They even wanted to use Booster in one of the comics and Princess Miranova in one of the rides, but that's a completely different story. You can check out the Toy Story comics, which are fine. I mean, they're not great, but they're fine, and Bo Peep's much better written than those if you ask me, so you can read those for free on readcomicsonline.com. Yes, that's actually a website. Or you can find it for cheap somewhere if you want a physical copy. The Toy Story 2 video game, the Toy Story 3 video game. If you want to try the first film's video game, I would recommend approaching with caution because it's really frustrating and downright cryptic at times. If you play Toy Story 3, don't worry about the exclusive playable Zurg on the PS3 version. He's not really worth it, he doesn't have many exclusive missions, and he's got a much more limited moveset, but I'll go into that more if I ever talk about the Toy Story 3 game. The Toy Story Toons, which are shorts that take place after Toy Story 3, not to be confused with the Toy Story Treats, which are fun but vary in quality. And finally, both TV specials, Toy Story of Terror and Toy Story That Time Forgot. And there you have it, yeah. I hope I proved to you why, even now that I'm all grown up, Toy Story is still a great film. Hopefully now, if you watch it, you can enjoy it with your kids still, and maybe you can appreciate it in a brand new way that you're older. And if I haven't managed to convince you, then enjoy it for your own reasons. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, I really appreciate it. And yeah, just enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.